of the intro. And in the way he's describing, like, that's God uses ordinary people. And really, I think it's so incredible that we don't live by the world's definition of ordinary and extraordinary. Like, but when we realize that we are like defined by what God says about us, and that like I'm not ordinary and you're not ordinary, you know, and it's so incredible to wake up in the morning and know that I have such an incredible future with Jesus, and like such an incredible adventure to walk with him today. You know, it's kind of one of the, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter if you know, I may be dealing with depression, or if I may be dealing with you know, angry coworkers at work, or you know, whatever you might face in your day, it's just like the things of God trump it all. Like, because you can be absolutely secure in what he says about you, in the future that you're gonna like you get to have with him tomorrow and the next day, and then for all eternity. It's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't, you know. So I'm just gonna like throw that other stuff that's bothering me in the trash, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. That perspective, you know, it's just, I love like the description that God gives in Hebrews 6 for us, like hope as an anchor for your soul, firm and secure. Living with Jesus. Actually, Pamela and Abby and I were talking about this last week. Like, you know, didn't you mention something about how you thought it was going to be a whole lot easier? You know, like, because you got saved a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell your story? Just rewind and tell your story.
Well, I thought I had known God. I thought that God was this person, like this being that everybody knew, and he gave us life, but I didn't really know much about Jesus. My family only went to church like on the holidays, and growing up, we never really got to be a part of it. And just growing up, I was a very shy person as well, and just kind of grew up in there was just like a lot of conflict in my family, and it just made me very depressed, and I just really struggled with it for years and years and years. And then I was getting to a point where I was like, I really just hate living this way, and I was just hoping that there was something more, like there's got to be something more out there for me than this. And then one day, this is back in 2010, October of 2010, I was listening to the radio, and then I had heard a song on the radio, and I was like, wow, this is like, the lyrics in that are really, really speaking to me, and I kind of want to know who was singing this song. And I looked it up, and I found out it was Skillet. And so I really didn't think much of it. I just kind of blew it off. I'm like, well, they're a Christian rock band, that's not really cool. So I was like,
Don't take it personally.
I just didn't think it was, I mean, they're like, okay, they really love God, but I'll just think of it as a love song. But the more I listened to it, the more I was like, no, there's something more to this. What they're speaking about is something that I want in my life. And I went online, and I bought the Awake album, listened to it. Everything was just lining up with my life. Went back into other CDs, and it's just, yes, this is what I want. I want somebody to know that I'm going through this, and I want to break free of it. And that's when God, well, I don't know, but I just felt that I needed to go and find Skillet and tell them what they were doing in my life, how their music was impacting me. And so I went online, found out that they were playing a concert in April of 2011, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to meet them and just tell them what's going on in my life, what struggles I'm going through, and then at least one person will know. I feel very comfortable with telling these people that I'll never see again.
Hello. Never again.
So I did that night. I went to the concert, and I thought, well, I had a meet and greet pass. I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to say everything that I want to. And So I wrote it down, and that night I saw John, and I said, hey, can I give you this letter? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. And then I just went on with the rest of my life, and well, not life, nights, and just was like, okay, one person knows, and you know, it's fine, and I have peace about that, and maybe they'll pray for me, and things will change. And so I really thought that was it. And then about a week or so later, I got an email from you, and you had told me that you guys got my letter, and you were praying for me, and you told me about your church, and then and also how you found Jen through the school. And I was like, okay, this is crazy, because who tracks down somebody to like tell them about a church? And then I just thought it was nuts. And but I was like, no, I'm not going to, like, she took the time to track me down. The least I could do is make a phone call and find out more about it, and it was the best phone call that I made. I called and talked to Kim, and what came out, saw the church, saw the school, but I wasn't entirely sure. I wanted to make sure I was doing it for the right reasons, and I said, I just need to see if I'm doing it because Korey Cooper of Skillet told me to do it, or because I want to actually make a change in my life, and this is what God wants me to do. So I took the year, and all opportunities had closed. I didn't advance in anything. Nothing changed in my family situation, living situation. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back out there and try, like, look at the school again. And I did. Cal, the director of the school, and Kim sat down with me, and I just said, I'm so fed up with everything. I just want to live better. I want a change. And they asked me if I wanted to give my life to the Lord, and I said yes. And so they prayed for me, and that afternoon I was born again. And it was, it was amazing, but I also felt, I was like, I don't know what I just got. Yeah, and it took a while because I felt a change. I definitely felt something different, and it was just, I just took that whole entire year to continue growing, and
because not everything is suddenly amazing once you give your life to Jesus.
Right.
He's with you in it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That was ultimately it, because there were a lot of struggles while I was going through my first year as a born-again Christian. I didn't realize that it's what the enemy tries to do is to just keep you from being fruitful. That's because I was like, I'm a child of God now. Why am I still being attacked? Why do I still feel this way? Yeah. Why are things so difficult? And somebody said to me, it's because the devil doesn't want you to be fruitful. He doesn't want you to be changing lives and be glorifying a kingdom for God. And I was like, that makes so much sense. And like actually feeling His presence within me, it's just an amazing thing.
I'm going to read this letter, okay? And then I want you to, like, if you were speaking to this girl, maybe what you would tell her. That's cool. This is from a fan. I've been going through some crazy stuff in the past few years. A couple years ago, I was diagnosed with OCD and depression. This diagnosis came after my parents' denial that anything was wrong and my starting to self-harm. When my parents found out I had been cutting, they reacted in anger. After that, I hid most everything from them. They had taken away my blades, but I found others. The self-harm had become life-threatening, and I ended up in the ER one night to get 10 stitches in my ankle. My brother proceeded to tell me how stupid and backward my behavior was. Meanwhile, my OCD was becoming worse as well. I was in constant fear of my fiancé dying in a car accident if I did something wrong, afraid God would hate me for offending Him with intrusive, evil thoughts. I still struggle with these things. I don't self-harm as much, praise God, but I do relapse sometimes. OCD is so terrifying. I worry that I'll hurt people. I worry that I'll be hated by God. My mind says to so many things, not good enough, do it again. Sometimes I don't think I can take it. Life is so hard to live sometimes. I lost my best friend because I was bringing her down. The two that have been there with me through it all are my fiancé and new music. Do you have any of you guys say, but because, you know, you can relate to some of this stuff.
I just identify with so many things in that letter. That was me 7 months ago, like, before I was born again, and I just, it's hard to talk about because it's still so fresh.
Sure.
But,
Yeah. How did you come to know God? Like, what's the journey there? Did you have friends or?
It involves Skillet.
Okay.
About a couple of years ago, I was really hopeless, and so I Googled songs about suicide.
Okay.
And a search results came up, and it was kind of like a Yahoo Answers type things where many people could propose plies. And the most common song was "The Last Night" by Skillet. "The Last Night" by Skillet. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's showing up on all these people's list. Maybe I should listen to it. And so I did, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this song, it's yes. I finally felt like somebody out there understood somewhere. And so I just started listening to more of Skillet, and I mean, it helped, but I don't know. So anyway, and so last year, a girl from Living Light started working in my department at work at Walmart, and she said, oh, the School of Worship is having a songwriting showcase, you should come. And I was like, oh, okay, I like music, that's fine. And then I came, and I experienced God in a way that I had never, ever had before. Like, I didn't know it was possible. Like, I knew Skillet was a Christian band, but all my past experiences with God were that he is just this awful, awful thing. Like, if you do one thing wrong, you're gonna go to hell. And I was like, how can I take back all of my past wrongs? Like, how can I fix that? And then to come to realize, like, you just have to ask to be forgiven. And it is. Like, that blew my mind 10 times over. Like, it was the greatest thing. And so I became born again on Easter Sunday this year. And it was just, it was like I could breathe. Like, things didn't change instantly, like you were talking about. Like, things didn't get better right away, and I was kind of bummed, I'm not gonna lie. But
there's all of a sudden hope.
Right, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Exactly.
It's hope. Yeah.
Hope existed in a place
Like, all of a sudden,
where
life
didn't have
life
one.
isn't, like, life has purpose, you know? Like, before God, there's no purpose, which is so true. Without God, what is your purpose? There isn't one. And then all of a sudden you knew this hope, you know? You're like, okay, God, my life is now yours. You know what I mean? It's just like so great.
Yeah, because I didn't think hope was ever gonna live in me again. Like, I just thought the self-harm was gonna completely take me over, and that was gonna be that. And I just pretty much accepted that as my life. Like, oh, this is who I am. Like, I identified as that. But now to be able to identify as the daughter of the King, like, what's better than that?
I know.
Yeah.
I kind of went through the same thing. When I was in my late teens, I asked my doctor for antidepressants, and she gave me like a few samples of them, and I thought things were getting better, but my mom found my antidepressants, and she screamed at me. She said, "Why are you depressed? You don't have anything to be depressed about." And I was like, she just doesn't know. I mean, I try and communicate with her, but she doesn't. She just didn't get it, and I just kept it bottled up inside. I didn't take the antidepressants any longer, and things just got worse. I just held it in, and I didn't know what to do until I found some way to break out of it and reach out to people and just get in contact with people to just I know what that feels like, and it's a horrible feeling to deal with all of this anxiety and self-hatred and just having absolutely no outlet and wanting to, but just not knowing where to go. But it's just looking for anything. God will provide a way for you to break out of it, and it's just, if you can't go to your family, go to a friend. Just keep going to people, and somebody will be there for you to help. And it's just, I just don't know.
Okay, we'll take a break here, because this will segue us into chapter 1, which is, what you're basically saying is, yes, God is always there for you.
Mhm.
You've given your life to Jesus.
Yeah.
But you also need the church body, which you
Yes.
guys are all from, you're my church family, you
Mhm.
know? And you need people that will love you
Yeah.
like this,
Mhm.
like chapter 1. So let's take a little break.